Here's the truth nobody tells you. That $80,000 luxury sedan with the massage seats and 47 different mood lighting settings, it'll be worthless scrap in 15 years. Meanwhile, a 1995 Lexus LS400 with 300,000 miles just fired up on the first crank, laughing at the entire concept of planned obsolescence. Today's luxury sedans are built to dazzle you through a lease, then quietly fall apart once the warranty expires. But these 12 legends, they were engineered with obsessive, overbuilt quality that simply doesn't exist anymore. Let's count them down. Number 12. Mercedes-Benz W140 S-Class, 1991 to 1998. Let's start with automotive royalty, the W140 S-Class. This wasn't just a car, it was Mercedes-Benz making a statement to the world. Watch this. Launched in 1991 with a development cost that reportedly exceeded $1 billion, the W140 was engineered with tolerances typically reserved for German machinery, not luxury sedans. We're talking self-closing doors that seal with vault-like precision, double-pane windows for silence, and panel gaps so tight you'd need a micrometer to measure them. Under that imposing hood, you could opt for everything from a silky 3.2-liter inline-six to the legendary 6.0-liter V12 that produced 389 horsepower. But power was almost secondary to the engineering philosophy. Build it so well, it never breaks. And it worked. W140S routinely sail past 300,000 miles without major drama, and many are still serving as daily drivers across Europe and the Middle East. Now don't get me wrong, when a W140 does break, the repair bills can make you weep. But here's the thing, it breaks rarely. Compare that to a modern S-Class, where the air suspension alone can cost $5,000 to replace, and suddenly those W140 maintenance costs look almost reasonable. You can find decent examples for $8,000 to $25,000 depending on condition and engine choice. The W140 isn't just a car, it's a lesson in what happens when accountants don't have the final say in engineering. But if you think this is impressive, wait until you see what Japan was building at the same time. Number 11. Lexus LS400, 1989 to 2000. Speaking of Japan, let's talk about the car that made the entire luxury sedan establishment panic, the first-generation Lexus LS400. When Toyota decided to build a luxury brand from scratch, they didn't cut corners. They reverse-engineered Mercedes and BMW, then asked themselves one simple question: how do we make this better and more reliable? The answer cost them $1 billion in development and 6 years of obsessive testing. The result was a 4.0-liter V8, so smooth that engineers balanced it with champagne glasses on the valve covers at idle, and they didn't spill. That engine produced 250 horsepower and was wrapped in a body so aerodynamic it registered a 0.29 drag coefficient, better than many sports cars of the era. But the real magic was in the details. Wiring harnesses designed to last 25 years, laser-welded seams, and quality control so intense that early LS400s had fewer defects than luxury watches. The numbers speak for themselves. LS400s regularly hit 500,000 miles with nothing more than routine maintenance. The original owner of the million-mile LS400 only replaced the alternator and water pump once. You'll find clean examples for $5,000 to $15,000 today, and here's the kicker, they're still dead reliable. Modern Lexus sedans are nice, sure, but they're packed with technology that ages like milk. The original LS400, that ages like fine wine. And surprisingly, this isn't even the most bulletproof sedan on this list. Number 10. BMW E38 7 Series, 1994 to 2001. Here's where BMW purists get emotional, the E38 7 Series. This was the last generation of BMW's flagship before the brand became obsessed with iDrive, electronics, and complexity for complexity's sake. The E38 represented peak analog BMW luxury, supremely engineered, beautifully balanced, and still simple enough that a skilled mechanic could actually fix it without a computer science degree. You had engine choices ranging from the bulletproof 2.8-liter inline-six to the glorious 5.4-liter V12 in the 750iL, which pumped out 322 horsepower and made the kind of smoothness that V8s can only dream about. The build quality was exceptional: thick paint, solid body panels, and an interior that still feels luxurious today despite being over 2 decades old. These weren't just assembled, they were crafted. Now, let's be honest, E38s need more attention than a Lexus LS400. The cooling systems have a lifespan. The window regulators eventually give up, and if you buy a V12, you're essentially maintaining two inline-sixes. But here's what matters. The core components, engine, transmission, chassis, are essentially unbreakable when maintained. E38s with 300,000 plus miles are common in the enthusiast community. You can grab a clean 740i for $6,000 to $12,000 or a V12750IL for $8,000 to $18,000 if you're feeling adventurous. Compare that to a modern 7 Series where the electronic parking brake alone can bankrupt you, and the E38 starts looking like financial genius. But wait till you see what's at number 9. Number 9. Honda Legend Acura RL 1996 to 2004. Let me introduce you to a car that's criminally underrated. The second-generation Honda Legend, sold in North America as the Acura RL. While everyone was obsessing over the LS400 and S-Class, Honda quietly built a luxury sedan so reliable it makes Swiss watches look unreliable. This wasn't Honda's first rodeo. They'd been perfecting the Legend since 1985, and by the second generation, they'd created something special. The party piece was a 3.5-liter V6 producing 210 to 225 horsepower depending on the market, mated to either a 5-speed automatic or a 4-speed that was smoother than it had any right to be. But the real innovation was Honda's obsession with weight distribution and handling. This sedan featured all-wheel steering on certain models, making it corner like something half its size. The build quality was pure Honda. Everything fit perfectly, nothing rattled, and materials aged gracefully. Here's the thing about Legends, they just don't break. 250,000-mile examples are everywhere, often still on their original major components. Common issues? Basically none. Maybe a starter eventually, or some bushings after 200,000 miles. That's it. You can find pristine examples for $4,000 to $10,000, which is frankly absurd considering what you're getting. Modern Acuras are fine cars, but they're packed with infotainment systems that'll be obsolete before you finish your first car payment. The Legend? That'll outlive your mortgage. And if you think Honda's reliability is impressive, wait until you see what the Germans did when they actually tried. Number 8. Audi A8 D2, 1994 to 2002. The first generation Audi A8 was Audi flexing hard. This was the world's first mass-produced car with an all-aluminum space-frame chassis, a technological flex that reduced weight by 480 pounds compared to a steel equivalent. Audi called it the Audi Space Frame, or ASF, and it was genuinely revolutionary. Lighter weight meant better handling, better fuel economy, and less stress on every component. It was engineering brilliance wrapped in restrained Germanic elegance. Engine choices were diverse, from the 2.8-liter V6, producing 174 horsepower, to the absolutely magnificent 4.2-liter V8 with 300 horsepower that sounded like distant thunder and pulled like a freight train. Quattro all-wheel drive was standard on most markets, giving the A8 capability that embarrassed sports sedans in bad weather. The interior was classic Audi, minimalist, beautifully constructed, and aging far more gracefully than the overwrought cabins of modern luxury sedans. Now, here's the reality check. Early A8s can have some electrical quirks, and finding a specialist mechanic who understands aluminum welding is crucial if you ever need body repairs. But the core powertrain, absolutely bulletproof when maintained. That 4.2-liter V8 is legendary for hitting 300,000 plus miles with regular oil changes. You can find clean examples for $5,000 to $12,000 today. Compare that to a modern A8, where the MMI system costs a fortune to replace, and the air suspension is a ticking time bomb. And suddenly, that D2 looks like wisdom. But surprisingly, this German isn't even the most durable on this list. Number 7. Infiniti Q45, 1989 to 2006. Let me tell you about one of the most underappreciated luxury sedans ever built, the Infiniti Q45. When Nissan launched Infiniti to compete with Lexus, they had a problem. Lexus had just dropped the LS400, which was perfect. So Nissan did what any ambitious automaker would do. They built something even more powerful and just as reliable. The result was the Q45, particularly the first and second generations from 1989 to 2001. Under that muscular hood, lived a 4.5-liter V8, producing 278 to 340 horsepower, depending on the generation, significantly more powerful than the LS400. This wasn't just a Lexus clone, it had its own identity. The Q45 was sportier, more aggressive, with rear-wheel drive dynamics that made it genuinely fun to hustle down a back road. Yet it retained that Japanese obsession with reliability and quality. The build quality was exceptional, the materials were premium, and the attention to detail was frankly excessive. Reliability? Q45e routinely exceed 300,000 miles without major engine or transmission work. The VK45DE V8 is essentially unkillable with basic maintenance, oil changes, coolant flushes, and you're golden. Common issues are laughably minor. Maybe a window regulator, perhaps some suspension bushings after a couple 100,000 miles. Here's the crazy part. You can buy an immaculate Q45 for $3,000 to $8,000 today. That's used Camry money for a V8 luxury sedan that'll outlive most modern cars. The market hasn't caught on yet, but trust me, these are future classics. And if you think that V8 is impressive, number 6 will absolutely blow your mind. Number 6, Jaguar XJ6, XJ8, 1994 to 2003. Wait, a Jaguar on a reliability list? Hear me out. The X300 and X308 generation XJs represent something unique. The brief period when Jaguar was owned by Ford had access to actual quality control, but still retained that classic British elegance and character. These aren't your father's unreliable Jaguars. These are legitimately well-built cars that happen to look absolutely gorgeous. The X300, 1994 to 1997, featured the legendary AJ16 inline-six, producing 245 horsepower, an engine so smooth and refined, it felt like silk. Then came the X308, 1997 to 2003, with the new AJ V8, a 4.0-liter V8, pumping out 290 horsepower. Both engines were thoroughly tested and fundamentally reliable, a sentence I never thought I'd write about a Jaguar. Ford's influence meant better quality control, more durable components, and electrical systems that actually worked consistently. Now, let's be clear, these aren't Lexus-level bulletproof. You'll deal with some quirks. Coolant systems need attention, transmissions prefer fresh fluid, and electrical gremlins can appear if maintenance is deferred. But here's the thing, the core mechanicals are solid. 200,000-mile XJs are genuinely common among enthusiasts who maintain them properly. You can find gorgeous examples for $5,000 to $15,000, and for that money, you're getting one of the most beautiful sedans ever designed with surprising longevity. Modern Jaguars, beautiful but terrifying once the warranty expires. These X300/X308s, they're actually fixable and surprisingly dependable. And hey, if you're loving this countdown so far, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We've got so much more coming on reliable luxury cars, hidden gems, and automotive legends that the market's sleeping on. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Now let's keep going because wait till you see what's at number 5. Number 5, Toyota Crown Majesta, 1991 to 2009. Time to talk about a car most Western audiences have never heard of, the Toyota Crown Majesta. This was Toyota's flagship luxury sedan for the Japanese domestic market, essentially what the LS400 would have been if Toyota didn't need to impress Americans. The Crown has been around since 1955, but the Majesta variants from the 1990s and 2000s represent peak Japanese luxury engineering. Utterly reliable, beautifully crafted, and packed with technology that actually works. Engine options ranged from silky inline-sixes to magnificent V8s, including a 4.0-liter V8 producing 276 horsepower. Japanese regulations limited advertised power. These engines shared DNA with the LS400's legendary power plant, which tells you everything you need to know about longevity. The build quality was exceptional, better materials than most Lexus models of the era, with leather that ages beautifully, and trim pieces that don't rattle even after 300,000 kilometers. Here's the magic. Crown Majestas regularly hit 400,000 plus kilometers, 250,000 plus miles, in Japanese taxi service, which is perhaps the most demanding environment imaginable. When a car survives Japanese taxi duty, it can survive anything. Common issues? Virtually none. Maybe some suspension components after 250,000 miles, but the powertrain is immortal. Importing one costs $8,000 to $20,000 depending on age and condition. And yes, it'll be right-hand drive. But you're getting a piece of automotive engineering from an era when Toyota overbuilt everything just because they could. Modern luxury sedans don't come close to this level of durability. And surprisingly, this Japanese legend isn't even the toughest on this countdown. Number 4. Mercedes-Benz W124 E-Class, 1984 to 1997. If the W140 S-Class was Mercedes proving they could build the ultimate luxury flagship, the W124 E-Class was Mercedes proving they could apply that same obsessive quality to a normal sedan. Launched in 1984 and refined until 1997, the W124 represents what many enthusiasts consider the last truly over-engineered Mercedes. This was before bean counters demanded cost-cutting, before partnerships diluted the brand, before planned obsolescence became standard practice. The W124 came with a dizzying array of engines, from frugal diesel 4-cylinders to the legendary 3.2-liter inline-six, producing 217 horsepower, to the absolutely bonkers E500/E60 AMG variants with 322 to 381 horsepower. But regardless of which engine you chose, the philosophy was identical: build it to last forever. Rust protection was exceptional, panel gaps were microscopic, and every component was engineered with redundancy and durability in mind. The numbers are staggering. W124S routinely exceed 500,000 miles, with many examples pushing 750,000 miles or more, particularly the diesel variants. In Africa and the Middle East, W124s are still serving as taxis, the ultimate durability test. When a 30-year-old car is still earning money in harsh climates, you know the engineering is special. You can find solid examples for $5,000 to $15,000, with pristine low mileage or AMG variants commanding $25,000 to $50,000 plus. Modern E-Classes are beautiful, sophisticated cars. They'll also bankrupt you the moment the warranty expires. The W124, that'll outlive you, your kids, and possibly your grandkids. But believe it or not, we've still got 3 even tougher sedans to go. Number 3. Volvo 940/960, 1990 to 1998. Let's talk about Swedish durability. The Volvo 940 and 960. While other manufacturers were chasing styling awards and horsepower wars, Volvo was quietly building sedans with one singular purpose: survive everything. The 940 and 960 represented the culmination of Volvo's classic rear-wheel drive platform, refined over decades into something approaching automotive immortality. These weren't fancy, they weren't fast, but they were built like Scandinavian bank vaults. The 940 typically featured a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder, producing a modest 114 to 155 horsepower, while the 960 upgraded to a buttery smooth 3.0-liter inline-six with 204 horsepower. Power wasn't the point. Longevity was. These engines were designed with massive tolerances, robust components, and maintenance intervals so forgiving you could almost ignore them, though please don't. The body was galvanized steel with rust protection so thorough that 30-year-old Volvos still have solid bodies. Here's where it gets crazy. 500,000-mile Volvo 940s and 960s aren't rare. They're common. In fact, finding one under 200,000 miles is actually harder than finding high-mileage examples because nobody ever retires these cars. They just keep running. Common issues? Maybe a heater core eventually, perhaps some bushings, the engine and transmission. Those are essentially permanent installations. You can buy excellent examples for $3,000 to $8,000, which is frankly insulting considering you're getting a car that'll outlast everything else in the parking lot. Modern Volvos are beautiful, safe, and sophisticated, but they're also packed with electronics that age terribly. The 940/960? That's generational transportation. Before we get to the top 2, quick thing. If you're getting value from this video, smash that like button. And if you've got a story about owning any of these legends, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Now, we're almost at number 1, but first, number 2, Lexus GS300, GS400, 1997 to 2005. The second-generation Lexus GS doesn't get enough love, and that's criminal. While everyone obsesses over the LS400, the GS was Lexus proving they could build a sport luxury sedan that was simultaneously thrilling to drive and Toyota reliable. The GS 300 featured the legendary 2JZ inline-six, producing 220 horsepower. Yes, that 2JZ. The same engine from the Supra that's legendary in tuner culture for its over-engineered strength. The GS 400 stepped up with a 4.0-liter V8 making 300 horsepower and delivering performance that embarrassed BMW's best. But power was just the beginning. The GS had near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, rear-wheel drive, and handling dynamics that made it genuinely fun while maintaining Lexus's obsession with reliability. The build quality was exceptional. Better materials than the contemporary BMW 5 Series, tighter assembly than the Mercedes E-Class, and a level of attention to detail that German manufacturers had already started abandoning in the name of cost-cutting. Reliability. The 2JZ engine is famous for lasting 500,000+ miles with basic maintenance, and the 1UZF EV8 in the GS 400 is similarly unkillable. These cars hit 300,000 miles and barely break a sweat. Common issues are laughably minor. Maybe a starter motor, perhaps some ignition coils. That's it. Transmissions, differentials, suspension, all built to last. You can find pristine examples for $5,000 to $12,000 today, which is absurd. Modern sports sedans offer more tech and faster acceleration, sure, but in 15 years, the GS will still be running while those modern cars are awaiting electronic parts that no longer exist. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Number 1. Honda Accord, 1998 to 2002 V6 models. Wait, a Honda Accord at number 1? Absolutely. Hear me out. While the 1998 to 2002 Accord V6 might not have the prestige badge of an S-Class or the luxury pedigree of a Lexus, it represents something more important: accessible luxury-level refinement built with engineering integrity that frankly doesn't exist anymore. This generation of Accord was Honda at their absolute peak, before cost-cutting, before simplified platforms, before they started chasing profits over perfection. The 3.0-liter V6 produced 200 to 240 horsepower depending on market and year, wrapped in a body that was beautifully proportioned, surprisingly upscale inside, and engineered with the kind of obsessive attention to detail that made every component last forever. This wasn't marketed as a luxury car, but the build quality, materials, and refinement easily matched real, luxury sedans of the era. The difference? It cost half as much and would outlive them all. The numbers don't lie. 400,000-mile Accords from this generation are everywhere. The engine and transmission are essentially unkillable with basic maintenance, oil changes, timing belt replacements, and you're set for life. The chassis doesn't rust, the interior doesn't fall apart, and even the paint holds up remarkably well. Common issues? The automatic transmissions on some early V6 models had problems, but Honda extended warranties and fixed the issue. Otherwise, these cars are immortal. You can find excellent examples for $3,000 to $7,000, which is absurd. For the price of a few months of new car payments, you can own a sedan that'll run for decades. Modern Accords are nice cars, comfortable, efficient, well-equipped, but they're packed with turbocharged engines, CVT transmissions, and electronics that won't age well. The 1998 to 2002 V6? That's a time capsule of when Honda built cars to genuinely last forever, wrapped in a package that's still handsome, still comfortable, and still plenty quick enough for real-world driving. There you have it, 12 legends that prove modern isn't always better. From the vault-like W140 to the immortal Accord, these sedans were engineered when durability actually mattered. Look, modern luxury sedans are incredible, but most won't see their 20th birthday. The electronics will fail, repair costs will skyrocket, and they'll be worthless. Meanwhile, these 12 will still be running, still turning heads, still proving that quality never dies. If you loved this, hit that subscribe button and check out our video on SUVs that refuse to die, because these legends have four-wheel drive cousins that are just as indestructible. Thanks for watching. And remember, the best luxury is the car that's still running when everything else has quit.